Nakana turanga na marama dhorbo ngone leo bakaki na veki mnirangone nindo bating mayen Radio Fiji 1 sarabi talitinga na FBC TV na ngona ni Vakekeli ka o bobini binati kana nondanga unongo ni kena mai kambura ki o titinga na tuba bagai labo ni ronondo lutini ka bitu ki na ronondo lutini ka walu mai nonda bulangiti kana turanga buni lao Minister ni bekaba kai yau bagai labo nonda matini tu Minister for Economy Public Enterprise, Civil Service and Communication, Honorable Ayaz Sayed Kayum. Wabini binatalanga niti ko isoa tale maimbua, karao ni kito na may bita manitiga, niya na bitala nongo. Sa suriti tale tunga bikimni, ninda nga bitala no tigo na taliboni. Au sabi kinda bagi sarabe ro na biokani. Mbula binaka so, welcome to the Vakekeli Show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Mbula binaka iso?
Ni mbula binaka nai.
Ndabo le busara, kena may kambura kitinga na tubo bagay labo. Budget 2017-2018. For the budget, let us begin with the whole budget has been announced last Thursday.
Well, you know, the budget, of course, has attracted very positive response from members of the public since the budget has been announced. And as you know, the budget is a culmination of a number of years of work. As announced in the budget, that when we actually put these budgets together, we don't look at it from year in, year out. Many of the policy announcements that we did make in the budget last week, in fact, we gave clues to that about 2-3 years ago. In fact, we've been planning for it about 2-3 years. So, for example, the civil service, the civil service pay rise, it's been part and parcel of the 2-year process. We looked at, for example, ensuring that the professionalism in the civil service improves, that we recruit people on an open merit recruitment system. We then did a benchmark of what we pay the civil servants compared to what people pay, get paid in the private sector. All of this takes time. So now, of course, it's all come to fruition. And we found that, for example, in certain areas, in particular the entry point, we are paying a lot higher salary compared to the private sector. So the entry point, the private civil service was here, the private sector was here. But as the years went by, we went down and they went up. So you're better off joining the civil service at recruitment, but 5 years, 10 years down the track, you may not be as well off. Also, the other key important point is that we recognize in the civil service reforms that there are very specialist skill sets that have developed. Classic example is nurses. So, for example, the general approach by trade unions, by generally the previous governments, was that when you give a pay rise, you give pay rise to everybody. So all the nurses get a pay rise, everybody gets a pay rise. But there's no distinction that some nurses may be actually doing jobs or duties or obligations that is very highly in demand, or that the job that they're doing, if they make a mistake, it can cause somebody's life. But there are other nurses who may be doing jobs that may not be as risky. So obviously the people who have riskier jobs need to be paid more. So this is what it has done. So for example, the specialist nurses are being paid they're given a pay rise of nearly 70%. Whereas others are, receiving in the 20% or 15%, whatever the case may be. So this is what has been done. It's highly sophisticated. And what we have done is that we've brought everybody up to a base now. So everybody's on the right base with this new announcement. Going forward, we have to ensure that people are judged on the individual performance. So now the base is right. So, for example, if you and I are working as civil servants, and Iswa is there, say all the three of us are civil servants, which both of us are, you are not, but say, if Iswa and I come to work 1 hour late every day, and, we knock off at 4:30, we start combing our hair at 4 o'clock, we take 1 hour break for tea break, we don't perform well. Whereas you do. You come to work on time, you come before time, you're courteous to the members of the public, and you're good to them, you answer your phone calls. When we come to do assessment, why should we get the same pay rise as you? You are a better performer. And we have to also inculcate this culture in our civil servants that the ordinary Fijian citizen is their client, is their customer. They are paying for our salaries. We have to make sure we do the best for them. So these are some of the reforms that have taken place. Obviously, in many other areas like education, has increased quite substantially.
Like so that after the budget address on Thursday, mostly people say that it's a people's budget. How do you recall that as?
Well, we like to think that all our budgets are people's budget because, of course, certain areas you have different priorities. And but of course, as you know, that with the civil service pay rise, it came to the fore. We also have been for the past couple of years looking at the social welfare payments. You see, the mindset in Fiji previously for a long time has been that if government gives social welfare payment to people who are very poor, or people who are disabled, or people who are abandoned children, a lot of, for example, children get abandoned, so the grandparents look after them, or the uncle or auntie looks after them. We pay money for that too. Or people get food voucher. A lot of the idea was that, if you give them money, you just give them very little, or they should be given money only to buy, say, bread or, vegetables, and that's it. You expect them to live on that. But we did not cater for example, there are women who may be receiving social welfare pay. They need sanitary pads. They need deodorants, People need a bit more things in life to live like you and I. Not exactly luxurious, but they need those basic things in life. So we've been doing this assessment for quite some time and looking at how we can improve it in a systematic manner. Of course, there are some people who do steal from the system too. We do know that. So we've been tightening it up. So, for example, we started giving this rural pregnant women, we started giving them food vouchers. So we've now increased that to $50 a month. Why do we do it? Is because if the mother with the child in her womb eats well, then obviously the baby will be healthier. So it's less psychological and physical stress for the mother and also for the baby when they're born. Obviously, if the baby is born healthier, then it puts less pressure on the hospital system. The baby is born healthier, they develop much better, they're intellectually, they're, all there, they're physically all there. So they become productive members of society. So this is investment in the future.
Thank you, sir. Na vale buso, aroni indona kena itutuku matata vero kanda rando watu menantangunungo.
Yo, vinakanai me banga sa bamadal tatsuna turang na minista. Membalata na tukutu bagila sama kadibi uji. Siang wala ni bagaruta ki membalata nga indona yambaki. Ada tik me nalom indona ngona balabu, rua ki natul na yambaki. Lori me ki na nadabe vinakaji. Me baga sama bagaruta ki chukuna yambaki ko.
Na vale busara bikim ni nando voting menantangunungo. Sana ndola vitali tungana taliboni ke bani tigono muni bata taro ni running giri maina tolu roro seiba dio seibu kena bitu tolu ro dio seiba ndua do mandanda dengwe na ngono ni baki. Bikini na kanda de bobi ni binaka ni tiwa tege kenda na turanga minista na bika bagai labu nanda mate ni tu ka huni lawa Honorable Ayah Said kayo mukila ni sa tingona bata tar ni sambula binaka na ngauna ni Vakekeli.
Gula minista finance assalamualaikum balon sing mai na lawara yo aur go chura budget yo dona la bule go silo chigu madan tu toru pati tala chunga ye sini dona ka ona anta taballe na tendo bu kena te kakana ndau kema mina tendo se sarkar be bola kamai vidana longa go risin dona be buke la mai angoi be la mai na be buke yana kakana ndau kema minda bla ka na tabani te tai ha bula tin kali mango asaba roti una diga sini ada bai ke vita una diga yo wakatu ngango erna butinia kema mina ndau bo ndau wa ya la labu na ka suje chigo minista yango yo nungu rechunga yana ndogo kututudio me hatora daga ni sau yana sau ni masim halutu mai yana kamarau yasin madal bagi angoi sena dende yana keman vinkati ko me sau ni ndogo me la koita ke ye dotale sana na matendura ni totale na pagda da sena taxe ke la koita na ya tamato ngada na ndo yana vidan bagi go se ruan million se sono na keman misin yodo yo no gore chunga na patek pakanga rangone satang sa pagrita kang abirna lol irna kabinan lol ibira kana miniti sini tao na ket yo mama suti wala minista ket na labu ket go me tori bagi yo butini au sa butini au ili na raka salabe ke mami doktor sagula na ndola dona trip la tati na ngere le sabara ngere yo go isa mai ruan tao ona na taina lori irna yanwila irna satolo na lima sagul.
Bina wale besar turanga matanggali mai ra en bukutingani suka en bukuni teindobu so ukila ni ya ambaletan nonra teindobu kena be ka rabu ke kina ramadangani ndona kena itutuk
Bina wale bu nai membaleta na vivu ke bangole na matinitu e na itukutuku buni labongo membaleta na vivu katora tak baleta na suka sambo tumbu take saranga e bangole na vivu ke membaleta na masima kena tosa tak na soni masima ili undo chin kabana dola dio na sende na subsidia baru tak na matinitu go sa tosa tak sar kina rus ngapul kalima na dola dio na sende.
So can you elaborate on
Yeah, this is on
sugar
sugar assistance. Yes. I mean, I think the gentleman is going on about the sugar cane
Yes,
prices.
yes,
I mean, see, this is what we've continuously been saying, that, you see, there's no point saying, okay, we'll give $100 a ton for sugar, when your cost input will be very high. See, to produce sugar, you need to spend money. You have to buy the fertilizers. As Isua just said, that we're going to give subsidy for fertilizer. At the moment, for example, the cost of a fertilizer bag, 50 kilogram, is over $40. Now, government subsidizes it, so the farmer only pays about $32 or so. Now, what we've announced in the budget is that we'll actually give them further subsidy, so they only pay only $20. Now, that means another $10 is being saved. We've also, for the first time, introduced a subsidy for sugarcane farmers for weedicide, about $6 million. We've also now said that we're providing more funding in respect of cane replanting of fallow land. You know, there's ratoon crops and fallow land is left idle. About $12 to $15 million for that. We've also provided some funding for new sugarcane farmers who want to come in and do sugarcane farming. There's some landowners, there's other people, young people who want to get into sugarcane farming. There's a lot of interest in that. So all of this actually, and we've said this program will apply for the next 3 years. The other major cost, for example, for sugarcane, to produce sugarcane, is the harvesting of sugarcane. So normally you have cane cutters. We've now, of course, providing cane harvesters, but there are some people who also have cane harvesters on their own. But the rate that they charge for cane harvesting is about $28, $32 a ton. What's the point of having that when the cost has not come down? So we've got the Commerce Commission involved. They set a price now. They've gone and done these surveys. So it'll be about $17.50 a ton. So essentially what's going to happen is that the cost of actual harvesting for these cane farmers will come down by at least $10. Those who are paying $27, $28. The cost of their fertilizer will come down by another $10. The cost of weedicide will come down by another $10. We've also said that FSC is going to buy 300 new trucks, essentially to cart sugarcane. We find that some lorry drivers in some areas charge a lot of money. Just to put into perspective, to cart cane from Lomawai to Lautoka is about 71 kilometers. To cart cane from Penang to Rarawai is about 71 kilometers. The rate they charge from Penang to Rarawai last year was about $28, $32 a ton. Lomawai is about $19 a ton, same distance. So you see, there are different sort of people who are, I suppose, skewering the system. So by FSC coming into the market, they'll be able to actually provide better pricing, because FSC's job is not to make money from the cane trucking. They just want the cane into the mill. So you see, this is what happens. So you can have, say, $100 a ton, what some politicians are going around saying. But if your cost is $90, you're only making a $10 profit. But if your cane price is, for example, $70, but if your cost is at the end of the day, say $40 or $50, you're actually making more money. So you see, you need to look at that. So the people should not fall for that kind of trickery. They need to understand what we're trying to do is address the symptoms, and trying to provide the fundamental cure as to why these things are actually happening. So we're addressing the symptoms of it. I think the other thing that he had mentioned about perhaps not being given enough assistance in the agriculture area. Look, I mean, if that is the case, he needs to raise that with us. It's not, obviously, maybe there's some civil servant in his area where he comes from is not necessarily doing their job. It does not mean it's something the fault of the budget. This again goes back to civil service reform. Now you'll see that people who don't perform, you can actually lodge complaints. We have a 151 complaint number that's lodged now for hospitals. So you go to the hospital, for example, you find that the doctor is not giving you information, the nurse is being rude to you, the security guy is not letting you see your relative. You can dial this number free of charge. We pay for your cost because we want to know what the problems are. Because many of these issues are actually operational issues. It's not a political or policy issue, it's a operational issue.
Ina valeu sarra, veke menino kanda ndola tina telefone tolu roro seba dio seba ni sambula vinaka ngona ni Vakekeli.
Iya ni mbula vinaka. Ava mbula talitunga bena turanga minista watanando bula intokai. Ndo tinga na kukawa itunga ya mbula kana kena to sada tinga na soni tabako soni ngunu watanga kena na weka mkemita. Dia una tabako sambo kwa toka ni kena to sada kembula tani toka na kena pata kila. Eve tolu tuku se vati una Vakekeli kila ena kena varera vaki ena nonda vakayanga takana tabako kembale ke baka enjoy sa bulie ti una tabako ni tikona kena Vakekeli kila kembale anona langkanga ia erona ngunungo ba mimbin na wai kami da Vakekeli mbia senga ni tiku kina ento na Vakekeli kila me tukuni tiku kemi na luni banua ni ko bakayanga taka baka lebu na wai kami da sembia vakabuna tikona mate suriti kwa kwa to sa kina na soni kanga mbata ni baka bimbite ki tivena mati sureti au kereti kena matintu me bako kota kanda lao me kambitiko wera keda na waika mkemiza na very sweet kede watanga kina nambia na kena konsum taki na baka buna tiko na mate sange bia u ke baka ngai to sa nda sabuli de tiko na luni bonua na kena rere bakindina
Ina wale busaro kila ni sa kawita ito kana nomuni wakatataro ndo matanda diangwe na ngono ni Vakekeli. Sa bikin da bagiti kana nantanga unong gondo tal mandana giri ni ber ningai somo ti kana wakatataro na turanga minista ni sambula binaka na ngoni Vakekeli.
Ini bula binaka. Ndo wala ngana kawe. Berarti na tumbu ni secondary sauna vaka civil servant na security. Na ubi sa na security to watanga na vaka roda kama. Na tava na kenan dindui. Yo ire ala ko na non rala ko na bipale ratu na security na na buno tango maki na buno ren ravi. Kay may ni ruangan ng dalawang sa bulu ko walo na Henry Sao. Tatang manda na lang kana kenan din me batu ko na Henry Sao na local ni isaw ni ngona ni ko. Pa kami ruangan ng rawa ka na Henry Sao do na maraw. Iyo na sunya ya ngoni ko santo na kana kini sinibiro kinambulan ni non rambulan ni bobal.
Na wale busara na kawiti umay ibiki mnina kanda ndobo tingmay Honorable Minister.
No, the
Alcohol.
The alcohol issue, yes. I mean, obviously there are a lot of people who do abuse alcohol. We have put up the duty of alcohol and cigarettes by 15%. We've been doing that since last year. And as we announced that we'll be doing that for the next 3 years by at least 15%. And yes, there are some people who do abuse alcohol. I understand the gentleman wants a label on the alcohol. That's something, of course, we can talk through the Ministry of Health in respect of the dangers of drinking alcohol. But as you know that, in terms of with cigarettes, advertising was stopped for cigarettes. And you'll see very little advertising by beer companies or alcohol companies. There's some that's around. Maybe that's the next step to look at. But this is something that we need to do through consultations. But we take on board what the gentleman is saying about the labeling of alcohol and the dangers of it. The alcohol that actually gets produced offshore, we have very little opportunity to tell them to do the labeling on it. Of course, as you know, the cigarette packets are all made in Fiji. The cigarettes are made in Fiji, so we can, by law, we require them to put the label. And of course, with the cigarettes that comes from overseas too, the imported ones, many people in Fiji don't smoke the imported cigarettes. But even those imported ones have labels because that's the requirement in those countries too. So I suppose the only alcohol that we have in Fiji is the ones that are made here that we may have some control in. But again, a lot of it boils down to the value systems we have. How we talk to our children, what we tell them about the values of drinking or not drinking, or to drink in moderation. And also the same thing with cigarettes. At the end of the day, you can have as many labels, but if people are not sensitized to it, they still do that. In the same way, I mean, diabetes, we have one of the highest rates of diabetes. We've been putting on this tax now on sweetened drinks, but you still see families, parents, getting the children to drink the sweetened drinks. And we have such a high rate of amputation. So no matter how much warning we're putting out, if the families at home are actually not telling those values to their people, in the same way that we have values about women, if we don't teach them the right values, our sons and brothers and uncles and all of that, they will actually tend to abuse women too. So government can do only a certain amount of stuff, a certain amount of work. But again, it boils down to the family units as to what value systems they pass on to the children.
For the second question is about the security.
Security guards, the wage rates. Yeah, I mean, we've increased the minimum wage from $2.32 to $2.68 since after widespread public consultations. All the other people who have their minimum wages too, because not everybody is 268. 268 only applies to unskilled workforce. There are other people who have their minimum wage rate is $3, $4, $5, $6 an hour, depending on your profession. All of those ones in the sectorial wage council areas, they've all received a pay rise also. So if that gentleman who's the security guard, I mean, he needs to check with his employer. They need to actually factor that in, and that's obviously will be published too. So we do have a lot of employers who don't necessarily do the right thing. We ask employees whose employers are not paying them the right wage rate, who may not be paying their salaries on time, please complain to the Ministry of Labor. We do also recognize the fact that some officials in the Ministry of Labor who are supposed to hear the complaints may not be doing their job also. We've had complaints about that. And we, of course, will be tightening that up, because now when people are being paid the right salary, they need to do their right job. So I sympathize with the gentleman that if somebody is not doing the right thing, his employer, please let the Ministry of Labor know. You can also, you can email it to us. I mean, you can email me his problem. My email address is aiyazsk@gmail.com, aiyazsk@gmail.com. Please email me your problem and we'll most definitely look into it.
Pinakabalevo, Vikimni na kamdala tina talibo na toluroro seiba dio seiba ni sambula pinaka nanga ni Vakekeli.
Iya nimbul naka. Mga taruana turang ministay. Mbalatangan na pirai yur nanggasin guli. Na imbitukan ni 14.3 kena 13.8% Iya na ministry sang imbita me contact. If you send down a contact and then you receive the piadas Kasi nga, na normal tunga na numu visumit. And then baka na sana kaya ni pamatal may kinanaturang minista.
Nabalevo Sara, kilani iso.
So what I understand, what the gentleman I understand is saying is that they'll only get the pay rise if they sign the contract.
Yes.
Yeah? That's what he's saying.
Yes.
He's asking. He's saying, why is that the case?
Mm.
Look, I mean, the fact of the matter is that we have different bands within which people move. So, for example, if specialist areas are being created, so for example with the nurses, if there are specialist positions being created, and those positions did not exist previously, then obviously people need to apply for those positions. But there are people already doing the job, so they obviously have a very good chance of getting that in any case, because hardly anybody else around doing that. So we have to do that in terms of making sure there's transparency in it. In respect of the teachers, I mean, the reality is that normally when you have actually a contract, say for example you're working here at FBC. Now if you get a pay rise of $5,000, that needs to be put into your contract. So it's for your security that we actually got a $5,000 contract, $5,000 pay rise, and we know that we have to pay you that. So that obviously, if he means that, then obviously that needs to be captured also. But in respect of the specialist positions being created, that's a separate issue altogether. But as far as the remuneration is concerned, even if you look at, for example, some of the teachers, there were some teachers who actually did not have a degree. Some did not even have a diploma, some had just a certificate training. So the whole idea of recognition of these different skill sets means that the person who may have a diploma or certificate, we're trying to encourage them to actually get further qualifications. It's good for them for their career also, it's also good for the students.
Na vale be kimni no kanda ndo voting mena no ndanga unongo ndo talman ndo de ngwe ngono ni Vakekeli. Sabi tinda bagitali tiga be kimni bo bene benati ko wana turanga bunilawa ministani yau ni be ka boila bono ndamati ni tu. Honorable Aya Sayed Kayum and buguni tuku bo mata tatagitinga kina na tubutu bo boilabo asamai kamburaki varite tibe kendale ni bunu ena lamani ronondolo tini kabitu kina ronondolo tini kawalu mai kade bagiti kana singalo tu lebu sawat indona kanda satingoni sambula binaka nomni bagatatar.
Yeah, Bulavinak. I just like to go back to the $2.85 for the unskilled labor, which mentioned by the minister. If you look at our security company in Fiji, mostly they employ the former policemen and former army officers to become the security officers. So it means most of our security officers in Fiji, they are qualified security officers and also policemen. So what can the government do on this to change the qualification from the army from policemen to a security qualification? What can we do? Because these people really need to have their wages increased because they are also qualified for this kind of work.
Yeah, in fact, I'd like to correct the gentleman. It's 268 is the minimum wage, and that's for unskilled people. Now we find, for example, there are some security companies who actually are paying, $4 an hour, $3.50 an hour, $5 an hour, depending on which security company you work for. In respect of the qualifications the gentleman is talking about, yes, there are some people who may be former police officers, former military people, and they may have particular level of exposure in terms of training. But obviously they now have in different profession. Now security companies, in terms of their certification, they have to be approved by the Ministry of Defense. So that's when you can operate a security company. So I think the point there is being missed. The point there is that there is no restriction in somebody being paid a lot more than what is the stated amount. As I've said, for security company personnel, they have also been given an increase. They're not the ones on 268. They're actually on a higher salary. Now, but also, I probably understand what this gentleman where he's coming from. There are some security companies that are not doing the right thing for their employees. That's a fact. We know that. And this is why we want more security guards or people who work for security companies to come forward. If your employees are not doing the right thing, you need to let us know. It's not the fault of government that they are not doing the right thing. But we can correct it if you tell us who are the people not doing the right thing. And we've actually helped some people along in the same way. In the same way, for example, we've met some people who are working on a construction site. And the wage rates are there. They need to be paid, $3-4 an hour. They're not paying them. They're not paying them overtime. Various allowances, they're not giving them meal allowance. They're not paying them overtime. There are some people who are being exploited. Now, we need to know about it. You tell us and we'll fix up the problem. We're actually tightening up the laws. We've tightened up the laws in the past few years. We, for example, have increased workers' compensation. Used to be for decades, $24,000 upon death. Now it's about $50,000. And also, it is actually $50,000. And also in respect of injuries, etc. So that's gone up too. But you need to let us know who they are.
Mina wale busara wa bene bana te wiki mni na buni bata taro ndola te kina taliboni sambula binaka na ngoni Vakekeli.
Ni mula benar. Wa mula sa tu biro na turang ulang. Indo kay na tabi na ni ko na ka wale biro ni ro kumai. En du bata taro. Ni wotin kel mai te bati. Bati ni rono do ci kabi ci kawal. En ma ga sa. Awa ni bina ka ni ro ni potakina na nonra tu suizake. Na turang ni koro. Mana nonra monthly allowance. Mana bicho galia mukina wal so bro. Terus ana taro di bawah mbeka ko ina na ci koro ndo bune daga ni ben garabi ngara ko saka ciko para ci mi saka ciko tambani ni bula se en lomni de kor rasa mo ndal kele mo da
Vina vale busara bota taro ni bula binaka sandola tina taliboni toluro rose bodio sebo kena bitu toluro dio sebondua en butinga ni bota taro ni tikona turanga buni lawa ministani be kabogai lavo. For that question, sir, about the healthman of the village.
Sure, thank you. Some of the nurses, they work on volunteer basis. This is how they're trained as volunteers. And so they sometimes may get allowances for that. That comes from within the Ministry of Health's budget itself. So the Ministry of Health is actually caters for that from their own budget itself. They need to look at in terms of some of the different locations of these nurses. But that's done for them specifically through the Ministry of Health. As far as, for example, Turang Nikoris is specifically through the Ministry of Itauke Affairs. There's a line item. In the same way, we have a specific line item for the Ministry of Rural Development for advisory councillors. So they kind of do the same sort of thing. But in respect of, the nurses, these are the volunteers, I assume, that he's talking about. They are not employed by government. They're actually volunteers. So that's how it's dealt with through the Ministry of Health itself. Yeah.
Na walebu na bata taro ndola tiki na taliboni bina walebu na nomunindo bata mena nandanga unungoni sambula binaka na ngoni Vakekeli.
Ni mbula binaka rawa mbula talanga zaro na mbula ndakay. Donga nungu taro. Nada mana kena lay wuri mena dialysis machine. Gua bambo mulut tajirang ana sa boleh kan mati. Rasanya cuma nondra 300 something for one session. Darang kay mati. Odi refund tak na kana mesel himbung na kango. When we have the alternative for uncommunicable diseases, we're using herbal medicine for alternative. Why don't the government see it? Every other country in the world are resorting to herbal medicine. Why not Fiji?
Ia, vinavale besar ndaga lestale na bunita royani sa mula minaka na ngoni Vakekeli.
Iya, ni belum nak meramualis ya. Wang bulu tu anak cunga beru na nanda bulan. Iya na mengubah ungai ni nasi gelebu. Onda biar bos cunga na buku ni 5 bekan nampak sau jauh bakal cunga nak buat jadi dia. Ongai na nunggu findings ni ocunga ya via bulu tolu. Tumbuh lagi cukup na sau ni ayah na supermarket or na hotel ni retail outlet sera tunggu na store lah ya. Utara gitu tu juga ni na komis na ortongai bete ki tu juga na utara gitu juga ni na tambahan ni nama ko na consumer council. Iya, utara gitu juga tambahan consumer council ortongai bete ki commission juga ni watara juga na tumbuh lagi ni sorry ayah iyo isengi juga ni dona kaya lagi juga na tumbuh lagi juga di sini ya. Dalam ni biar bola tu selalu menambah kan kita kapucin ko bani dik.
Vinavale busara, vinavale buna namni bandike so na butinga ni taro ngoltem.
The gentleman who raised the issue about the dialysis machine, he's saying people are paying $300 plus. Generally, the price we find is about $250. That's what the kidney foundation, they're charging about $250. But of course we have been very concerned about bringing down the price. The dialysis center in Lambasa, they charge $150. So the main cost of dialysis machine is the consumables, the thing that you need, the medicines and the tubes, etc. That costs a lot of money, and that's where the main cost goes. You can buy the machine one-off, but the consumables, the things you use every time to change, that's what costs money.
So we'll come back to that.
Sure.
And then the demo and ngoni Vakekeli. Sabi kinda bagiti kan yoto tini ngono paruta kiongo ni Vakekeli bo binatiko na bukutinga ni taro erua sa bando tegiti mayo ya. Honorable Minister with the two questions.
So as I was saying with the kidney dialysis machine, so the whole idea is to bring down the cost for those people who do need it. Of course, people do need kidney dialysis machine because when the kidney starts failing on them, so kidney essentially cleans your blood. The gentleman raised saying, why aren't we using herbal medicine? People are using herbal medicine. Government is not necessarily discouraging people from using herbal medicine. I use herbal medicine when I get a flu. My wife organizes things. So, people do use it. In respect of whether herbal medicine can 100% fix you up once your kidneys fail, that's obviously subject to, further scientific research. But if people are finding it that it helps them, some people say when for example, you have a slight dehydration, you drink a lot of boo, it helps you with your kidneys, it helps filter it. But whether the boo will only help or some herbal medicine help, if your kidneys have given up, 95% of it has given up. So obviously prevention is better than cure. So if we actually make sure that we live healthier lives, then we won't actually have that problem. But some people may have some genetic problems, they may be born with a problem, and they do need access to dialysis machines. There are some people who actually, despite trying herbal medicine, they still need access to dialysis machine. So we have actually catered for that, and the idea is to bring down the cost of it. There are some, not well-off people who actually need access to it, so we need to give it to them. So we're setting up 10 dialysis machines in Tamavua, but not just that, we're providing an entire sort of holistic approach to health care for kidneys. So there's a center set up. We've only one nephrologist or specialist in kidney in the entire country, and he'll be heading that. So he'll also be, teaching you what else to do in terms of improving the health of your kidney. We're setting up another 3 or 4 in Lautoka. But the idea again is to bring the consumables down. But there's nothing stopping you from trying herbal medicine. But what we find, a lot of people, they'll try a herbal medicine only when everything fails, when they're right on the edge, then they'll come to the public health system. So you have to realize that sometimes it may not necessarily work. And then when you come, and then people expect also miracles too, but you may have gone, far gone. So if you perhaps came and saw the doctor, got a check much earlier on, and maybe did some herbal, remedies, etc. But obviously they may not necessarily be science-based. So we need to check with the doctor continuously. The other issue is about the gentleman who raised the issue about food prices and increase in prices. I'd like to thank him actually for addressing this issue. A major part of the budget speech that we gave last week was on actually precisely this. You see, we have actually reduced VAT. We have reduced duty on a number of things in Fiji. Zero-rated duty. Government does not make any money at the border from importing these things. However, we find that some of the shopkeepers, they actually don't change the prices. We passed the law last year. Over 30 people have now been charged for not passing on the reduction in VAT, for not passing the reduction in duty. Of course, some of them are still doing that. Now, the other issue is this. We've also discovered, we've been doing, obviously analyzing this, nearly 60 to 70% of the items that are sold in supermarkets, all of them, of the 60 to 70%, are imported by only about 5 or 6 companies. They have the sole agency. It's not the supermarket. So the supermarket actually buys it. So for example, there's a cereal, say cornflakes or whatever brand, some cereal. We zero-rated duty on this, a couple of years ago. Now, when they bring this in as zero-rated duty, the wholesaler, the company that has the agency for it, then sells it to all the supermarkets. And then they sell it whatever price they want. Then these people, of course, make a small margin and sell it to you. You see, that's the issue. So, as announced in the budget, we've now got the Commerce Commission involved in it. We're now going back, what we call behind the scenes, and looking at all these companies, and we'll start dictating to them the margins, is what they should. They need to be able to justify why are they landing something in Fiji after paying for everything at $3 and then selling to the supermarket at $15. Then the supermarket sells it to you for, say, $17. So the big margin is being made in between there. So that's what's happening. I mean, even things like outboard motor engine. We zero-rated duty in outboard motor engines a long time ago. We went and did a quick price survey of that. They make a 40%, 70% markup on the outboard motor engines. We reduced the duty so the ordinary consumer, ordinary Fijian, would be able to pay a lower price, more outboard engines, more newer engines. But that's what they're doing. So we need to go behind the scenes and now tackle that too, which we have been doing, but we need to do more of that. That's the only way you can bring, down these prices, reflect them. But the other point I also want to make is that a lot of the items that we buy in Fiji are not made in Fiji. This mic is not made in Fiji. The clothes you're wearing may be sewn in Fiji, but the fabric comes from overseas. So we have to also understand we are essentially price takers. So we are actually, unfortunately, subject to the world market prices in these things. So this is why we say, buy Fijian, Fijian made, grow your own food, grow your own vegetables, because then you're not subject to the price changes overall. We eat flour, we all eat bread. We eat roti, we eat cakes, we eat scone, pastry, whatever you may call it, purini and all these things. Now, bambakau, all of these made of flour. But that flour actually comes from wheat. Wheat is not grown in Fiji. Wheat they buy from Australia. If the price of wheat changes in Australia, we have to pay the price. So it'll mean what's called FMF and Punjas, when they bring the wheat, they'll say, look, it's a price control item. They say, we have to put up the price of wheat because we're buying it at this much. We've got no choice. So when they make the flour, the price of bread goes up, price of scone goes up, price of, all of these things goes up because we are price takers. So this is why we have to grow more Fijian food, grow your own little they have it at the back, because that's how you're able to control that. But of course, the gentleman raised other issues which we have to buy. And we are going now behind the scenes to address this. You see, no other government has done this. We're actually now going behind the scenes. There's no point saying, make everything VAT or 15 of the items make it VAT exempt. What's the point of doing that when the price will keep on increasing? You just add the VAT. You see, this is why what we're saying is when we want to manage the economy, you have to do it with a lot of intellect. You have to look at economic management from an economic empowerment perspective. We want to empower the ordinary Fijians with the right information, but also help them at the right price points. So we need to be able to assist people who need the assistance.
Thank you, sir. Just to conclude, your message to the Fijians that they are listening and...
Well, there's a number of initiatives that have actually been announced in this budget. It's quite a lot. We have obviously just scraped the surface today. But we will be, after the budget debate next week, we will be going on a roadshow. So please come to that. We'll actually tell you in a lot more detail what's contained in the budget, how it will help you, how it's helping our youth in terms of education. We also, for example, very quickly, if I can, we have said that those students who finish their university degree, if they come from low-income families, we'll give them one-off of $300. So somebody lives in Vanuatu. He's finished his degree. He now needs to come for a job interview to Suva. He may need to buy a suit. He may need to pay for the boat fare.
Yeah.
We give that money to them to give them a little bit of a leg up. So these are the targeted. It's not given to all the students. Only those people come from low-income families. So this is what we're doing. We're giving some incentives for younger people if they want to come into business. We've got a grant for them if they fulfill the requirements. So the idea is that we are very much focused on this budget in terms of empowering ordinary Fijians, putting in more electricity, more roads, water, etc., to give you a full potential. So please come to these consultations, and we'll be able to tell you a lot more. And but this last point, please let's all work together and really be patriotic about our country, because this budget is for everybody. In the past few budgets, also we put it together, and of course we work together. The next budget can be a lot better budget also.
Vina wale usaran da bobini vina tigo bwana turanga puni lawa minister ni vika vogai labo Mr. Ayaz Sayed Kayum Honorable vina wale uso and sana mai zabai kena nondangono ni Vakekeli me zabai nondangono batangono madho katumai ni kalunga tsati ko ni sama teman.